Hello and welcome back to the channel. With so many property strategies out there, how do you know which one to choose from? Today, we will be helping you decide which property investment strategy is right for you. Whether you're after passive income or you want a hands-on management role, there is a strategy for you. First up, the traditional buy-to-let. You buy a property and rent it out. It's as simple as that. You'll get a regular passive income with rental yields ranging from 3 to 8% depending on the area in the UK. And you could generate capital growth. As the property appreciates in value, so does your money invested in it. For extra protection, there is also landlord insurance to cover against the loss of rental income, damage and legal costs. Management-wise, this can be as active or as passive as you like to suit your needs. The major downside to this is taxes. With recent legislation, your tax bill will be much higher than it once was, eating into your profits. On top of this, you will also need to factor in the cost of stamp duty, interest repayments, insurance and maintenance, as well as any periods of unoccupancy. Capital does not always go up. If you have an interest-only mortgage, you will need to make up for any shortfall if the property sells for less than you bought it for, since you have to repay the principal amount you borrowed. Next up is HMOs. So basically a HMO is just a house in multiple occupancy, rented out per room to 3 unrelated people. The benefit of this is a higher percentage yield compared to a traditional buy-to-let, often in excess of 10%. Renting per room, which can be anything from 3 to 8 rooms depending on the property, versus a single buy-to-let unit also allows greater cash flow generated, which means greater income for you. The main downside is it takes a lot more active management. Tenant turnover will be higher, increased damage to the property from usage, and there'll be more licensing requirements, especially if you're in an Article 4 area. You will need time to either manage the property yourself or contract a management company to do this on your behalf. So HMOs could be great for you if you want a good short-term passive income, have the initial capital to get the appropriate licensing in place, and to get the property to a really good standard. Third strategy is flipping. This is a strategy where you purchase a property below market value. You refurbish it to a good standard and sell/flip it on, with the aim of making a profit. The benefit is it's relatively straightforward. There's no tenant to manage and a lump sum profit at the end. This strategy is very hands-on, unless you have a team contracted to do all the labour work. You also have to research the market to find properties run down and priced correctly for this strategy to work. So doing your research and adding the numbers is essential. We take you through this process in more detail in another video. You won't have any cash flow from the property, just a one-off payment once the asset is sold. Compared to if you kept the property and rented it out, you'd receive a monthly income for as long as you like. This strategy is ideal for those who have liquid cash and want a profit now, and to build up their cash pot. If you know your DIY and have the skills, you can do the refurbish work yourself, saving you money and increasing that pre-tax profit. So the next strategy is buy, refurbish, refinance, also known as BRR. As the name suggests, you buy a property, carry out some kind of refurbishment to increase the value, then you refinance the property at the new value. The benefit of this is there's less cash tied in a deal by pulling your initial capital back out upon revaluation, which means you can build a bigger portfolio by recycling limited funds. A lot of research goes into finding suitable properties priced correctly, the work of bringing it up to standard, and then the paperwork of getting it refinanced. There is also a lot more risk involved, from buying at the wrong price to underestimating your budget and ultimately receiving a low-end valuation, which will impact how much capital you can extract and potentially mean capital is stuck in the property. This is a good strategy for those more experienced with the process, or have a few flips under their belt who want to grow their portfolio with relatively limited capital. If you're into DIY and ready to put the time and effort in, the rewards will be greater, saving you money on contractors and gaining valuable hands-on experience. Last but not least is serviced accommodation. Serviced accommodation is a relatively new strategy where you essentially let out the property on a short-term basis. The property is let out to what we call guests rather than tenants, because you're letting the property out usually by the night or for a short period of time. The advantage is it's very flexible and it's not as rigid as buy-to-lets, where you have to have a minimum of 6 months assured short-hold tenancy as minimum. You can let it out on a season basis or weekends that fit your schedule. The returns can also be considerably greater. If your serviced accommodation unit is a typical sort of standard buy-to-let, you may get $500 a month for it, depending upon where it is in the country. However, you may be able to charge £80 per night for it if you're using it for serviced accommodation. Achieving a decent occupancy rate for those £80 per night can earn you a lot more than the £500 per month that you would get on an assured short-hold tenancy. The higher the standard of serviced accommodation and the demand for the location, the higher your expected returns to be. The main reason why serviced accommodation is viewed more as a business strategy than that as a property one is the amount of intensive work involved in running it. It's very similar, if not identical, to that of a B&B or a holiday let, which includes furnishings, cleaning and 24/7 security. If you have the time, team and skills to run a hotel, this strategy is perfect for you. If you want to learn how to make money and avoid the many mistakes of serviced accommodation strategy, check out our dedicated video at the end. I hope you found this video helpful in choosing the perfect strategy for you. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe.